Recently, Marvel's What If finally wrapped up after 3 seasons, and if you couldn't already tell, the internet, they really love the show.
What's poppin'? Brand new whip, just hopped in. I got options. I can pass it.
Okay, so obviously people were upset by a few things. One, the overarching narrative with Peggy Carter and the Watcher. Obviously, if they didn't have to focus on that, we could have gotten more scenarios that people were actually interested in. 2, the selection of stories that they went with. Yeah, so I don't know who was asking for a Darcy and Howard the Duck episode that was a sequel to another episode from a previous season, but I wasn't one of them. The episode itself actually wasn't that bad. It was just more like, why? 3, the storytelling itself. I swear to God, in some of these episodes, it felt like they were cramming whole trilogies of movies inside a single 30-minute episode. Either that or a what-if scenario that was completely random that no one asked for, but at the same time, the episode itself was quite predictable. Or there was the occasional, hey, let's put this character into this movie, and, well, would you look at that? Everything turned out the same. So let's go over some Marvel what-if scenarios that may have garnered a more positive reception for the show that fans would have liked more, and by fans, I mean me. So I've kind of bullshitted an outline for each of these episode scenarios, and yes, I am keeping in mind that these should be around 30 minutes each. Don't know how that's gonna work out, but we'll see.
What if?
This scenario is one that I've seen discussed online a lot, and for good reason. To put it simply, this was a layup, or it was a potential slam dunk. It's more impressive they chose not to do this plotline because it's such an obviously intriguing scenario. Alright, so what would happen in this what if episode? The OG Avengers along with Rocket and Nebula, they're all snapped away and we're just left with the newbies. However, there is no time skip, okay? Everyone on Titan returns to Earth immediately, whether it's to Doctor Strange or the Guardian's ship, and everyone's in disarray. Star-Lord's feeling guilty because he had a temperament of a 3-year-old. Wanda is grieving and pissed because her boy toy got destroyed. Spider-Man doesn't know what the fuck's going on after seeing Tony Stark fade away right in front of him. But amongst all this, someone steps up, and that's Black Panther. Black Panther's like, hey, I know this sucks, but we have to recoup and find Thanos before the energy signature from the Infinity Stones fades away and we lose him forever. Nick Fury arrives and he's like, yep, if we don't act now, we'll probably never find this bitch ever again. So it's pep talk and everyone starts gearing up. Because you see, they're the Avengers, okay? Even if they can't save everyone, they're gonna avenge them. Wanda's ready to beat some ass. Spider-Man tests out his instant kill mode. The Guardians lend Bucky a massive array of weapons. Dude, it's on. But here's the thing, it's not gonna be like Endgame when all of them themselves rush in and restrain Thanos, okay? We're missing some heavy hitters like Thor and Captain Marvel. But on the other hand, Thanos just used the Infinity Stone, so his hand and his body is just fucked up, okay? So it kind of evens out. We see Thanos wobbling around in pain on his farm when suddenly a huge laser just destroys everything in the entire vicinity. The Avengers and the Nova Corps are here. Scarlet Witch takes the lead on restraining Thanos and everyone helps in, while Mantis, she takes control of his head once again. Doctor Strange, he does what he should have done in Infinity War, okay? This is what Wong did. He puts a portal around Thanos' arm with the glove and he tries to close it. But it's not that easy because Thanos is literally an Eternal from Titan, okay? It's not gonna cut like jelly. It's also not easy because Wanda gives in to her temptations to torture Thanos, which makes Thanos not stay still and Mantis having trouble to stay on. And this is when Star-Lord steps up and he's like, Wanda, don't be an asshole like me, okay? Just wait until we save everyone and then we can figure things out. So Wanda calms down, but Thanos opens his eyes. It's too late though because Strange is like, fuck you bitch, and closes the portal, and now we have the Infinity Gauntlet. Thanos lunges towards Doctor Strange, but Wanda appears between them. Listen, it's over for Thanos. Wanda, using her dark magic, slowly tears Thanos away in the same fashion that everyone snapped away. Listen, it's a bit brutal, but I don't give a fuck. So everyone's like, well, what are we waiting for? Let's bring everyone back. We have the Infinity Stones, we have the Gauntlet. But Strange is like, listen, it's not that simple, okay? To bring half of life back with these Infinity Stones, you will need an insanely powerful being to wield it. Otherwise, you try that shit and your body will just go splat and it wouldn't even work. That's when Star-Lord steps forward because he reveals that he is indeed half Celestial. And Drax is like, hey, you're still half human, you know? This is probably gonna kill you. You remember what happened last time when we tried to hold one stone? Remember how that went? But Star-Lord's like, hey man, this is my fault in the first place. Let me do this. So Peter Quill puts his hand inside the Thanos-sized gauntlet and Doctor Strange and Wanda use magic to contort it to his size. And after some build-up, boom, a flash of light and Quill falls down with his body just completely fucked. Doctor Strange moves everyone back to Earth and there's portals everywhere and everyone returns. The remaining Guardians crowd around Star-Lord as the light leaves his eyes and there's some epilogue stuff and yeah. Anyway, there you go. I know there's 100 other ways you could have done that, but there's an idea for what if the other Avengers survived the blip.
What if?
So there was a comic like this in the past called What If Spider-Man vs. Wolverine, where Spider-Man becomes a globe-trotting assassin with Wolverine and cheats on MJ and stuff. But I think this would work better in the MCU if Peter was an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. from the very get-go. We did kinda see this in Far From Home, but let's try making this a bit different. Peter would never become the full Spider-Man here, okay? Like, he's trained and raised by S.H.I.E.L.D. from the moment he gets his powers, and you know, he's just a killer for real. This was because Aunt May was assassinated by a Black Widow agent shortly after Peter got his powers. So after that, S.H.I.E.L.D. takes him in, and codenamed Spider-Man becomes one of Fury's most valuable assets. That's until Peter's sent on a mission where he encounters another Black Widow agent. Oh shit, all the weapons and gear that this agent is using, the uniform and stuff, it's exactly the same as the agent who killed Aunt May. Peter throws out his earpiece despite Fury's orders, follows the agent, tracks her down, and catches her, tortures her to find the base of operations for all the Black Widow agents, the Red Room. Meanwhile, Fury's like, oh my god, everyone go, 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 we need him back now. Once Peter arrives in the Red Room, it's instant kill Spider-Man, okay? I'm not talking about this nanotech bullshit, okay? It's just pure webs and bullets. He tears through the compound until he finds the man in charge, Dreykov. He's like, hey, why'd you kill my hot aunt all those years ago? Okay, he doesn't say hot aunt, he just says, why'd you kill my aunt? And Dreykov's like, we had to make sure America's animal-based genome super soldier serum formula didn't spread to anyone else, and we had to make sure we got rid of anyone who knew about it. And Peter's like, you dumb bitch, my aunt wasn't even a scientist! And Dreykov's like, it doesn't matter, that's what they were requested to do. And Spider-Man's like, by who? Dreykov's like, by him. Behind Spider-Man is Nick Fury and a bunch of other S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. Fury's like, Spider-Man, put your hands on the ground, we'll sort this out later. And Peter's like, I don't understand, you had Aunt May killed? It turns out that S.H.I.E.L.D. thought that Richard Parker's work was a complete dud until they realized that it only worked for his bloodline. So I think they did something similar in the Amazing Spider-Man movies, but I'm borrowing that, okay? So Spider-Man clears out all the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents and puts his hand on Fury's head. So locked and loaded, but he doesn't shoot, he just lowers his hand. He's like, these past few years, I thought I was using my gifts to make the world a better place, but there's always pieces of shit like you to make things worse for everyone. And he basically tells Fury that he's done killing for him or any other organization forever, and he disappears. Okay, listen, I don't know how I feel about my own twist about Nick Fury organizing the assassination on Aunt May, but this is why you don't let the fans cook, okay? Especially when someone has to write several of these what-if scenarios in a single night before filming the video, which is, definitely not me, yeah.
What if?
Well, I've talked about this before, but let's really flesh it out here. So after returning home from being kidnapped by the 10 Rings terrorist organization, he builds a better suit, blah, 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 the first half of Iron Man 1. But at his heart, Tony Stark is an Avenger, okay? And he wants to avenge his friend Yinsen. He starts researching everything about the 10 Rings organization, and he just finds that they are everywhere around the world. So he starts going to bases, interrogating, disrupting all their workflows, and finally he has Wenwu's attention. Shit's about to go down. However, not by shooting rockets at his mansion or whatever, but by literally pulling up to Tony's doorstep. So Tony opens the door and it's Wenwu, and he's like, so you're the Iron Man disrupting all my shit. I can't lie, that's kind of impressive. First of all, Tony's like, what? I'm not the Iron Man. And second of all, I don't know who you are, I'm gonna call the cops. But Wenwu's like, hey, don't bullshit me, okay? Put on your helmet and tell me what you see. So Tony's like, okay, fuck it. And then he puts on his helmet, and you know what he sees outside? Hundreds of body signatures surrounding the area. Insert here a snarky Stark comeback. So in Tony Stark fashion, he invites Wenwu inside and he makes him a cup of tea. Wenwu offers Tony partnership, and he's not here to bullshit around because he knows that the Starks are geniuses, okay? Wenwu's like, my boys have been buying weapons from your company for decades now, and it's best to keep that going. And Tony's like, yeah, sure, I'll get my contract, my pen and paper from the other room, and then I'll be back. But when he comes back out, he's in his full Mark III suit, and he's like to Wenwu, listen, your men killed my friend, so unfortunately I can't do business with you. And Wenwu just doesn't give a shit. He's sitting down just sipping on his tea. And Tony's like, well, I don't want to do this the hard way, but I'm gonna count down from 3. 3, and after 3, the Mandarin stands up and just whips Iron Man across the mansion with his rings. Honestly, I have no idea why they call them rings instead of bracelets, but that's not my thing. I'm trying to work with what we got. Basically, Tony gets the shit beaten out of him. The Mandarin walks away, calls all his men to leave, but his 13-year-old son looks on at the wreckage before turning back away. Tony realizes that to end the Mandarin's massive reign of power, he's gonna have to build a better suit. So he works day and night until one of those nights there's a knock on his door. It's the same 13-year-old kid from earlier, and he introduces himself as Shang-Chi, the son of the Mandarin. Shang-Chi wants out because he doesn't fuck with any of the criminal stuff, and he's never seen a better chance to take down his father's empire until Iron Man. So Iron Man keeps dismantling 10 Rings gangs all over the world and calls out the Mandarin. That's until one night Tony gets a call from Pepper, But it's not Pepper, it's the fucking Mandarin. Tony arrives at his office to see the Mandarin holding Pepper hostage, but it's not just the Mandarin there, it's his entire gang. They have the typical chat about, hey, I warned you, this is what happens when you fuck with me, whatever. And before Wenwu is able to launch these rings through Pepper, Shang-Chi kicks his father's arm away, brings Pepper down, and Iron Man just bolts towards the Mandarin and just launches him through the window. So Iron Man and the Mandarin are going at it outside while Pepper and Kid Shang-Chi are stuck inside. Wenwu's gang is like, Shang-Chi, what are you doing, bro? Okay, we're gonna have to kill her, then you're gonna really have to pay. But Kid Shang-Chi tells Pepper to get behind him and he just fucking destroys everyone. Meanwhile, Iron Man's decked out with all kinds of missiles and shit to keep the rings from collecting back together, but it's not a fun time either, okay? His suit is getting destroyed. So before the Mandarin is about to end Tony, Shang-Chi calls him out. So when we're in Shang-Chi fight, and there's also a battle for the control over the rings. Listen, I can't lie, I skipped over the part where Shang-Chi actually learns all those moves from his mother's village and shit. I kind of just want to skip over that because listen, 30-minute episode, come on guys. So Pepper wakes up Tony and he's like, hey, you need to get up and help this damn kid. So yeah, it's on Iron Man and Shang-Chi versus the Mandarin. And in true Marvel fashion, the heroes win, the Shang-Chi takes over his father's empire and stops all the criminal activity, and Iron Man lives happily forever until the Avengers end, etc. But I think it's important to know that Tony finally avenged his friend that changed his life forever for the good. So there's that. Listen, I know that's a lot for a 30-minute episode, but they're not making any more seasons of the show, so fuck it, I don't care.
What if?
Well, it's no secret that they kind of wasted this entire event on that TV show. Secret Invasion should have undoubtedly been an Avengers movie, okay? With the whole marketing campaign like they did in the comics with those creepy ass ads. So I'm gonna suggest, what if Captain America was a Skrull? The majority of this would probably take place during and after Age of Ultron. So we'll go with after Captain America falls into the water at the end of Winter Soldier, instead of Bucky coming in and saving him, he's abducted by Skrulls. So during the events of Age of Ultron, Wanda keeps going like, hey, there is something off about Captain America and his mind. Like during the whole hallucination sequence, it didn't even work on him. Like something's up. Alright, I'm gonna take some inspiration from Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes here. So the real Cap is jailed up in the Skrull ship with a few other important people, including a man who's masked up and we don't know who he is. This makes it clear that there is an existing character who is a Skrull that we don't know about. Meanwhile, Wanda goes up to Hawkeye because he's basically the only person she really trusts at this point, and she's like, hey, there is something up with Cap. And Hawkeye isn't like, whatever, shut the fuck up, you're a rookie. No, he's actually like, okay, I'll keep an eye out for anything odd. I know basing this episode around Wanda is kind of random, but I think doing it from the perspective of a rookie Avenger is the most interesting way to go about it, especially in a 30-minute episode, because you can't really do a full-scale invasion within that time frame. Meanwhile, the real Captain America, the masked person, and all the other people, they escape the Skrull ship through an escape pod and they get taken in by S.H.I.E.L.D. Eventually, Wanda catches Skrull Captain America radioing in an alien language, and she's like, okay, that's it.
Tell me about the one they call Troy.
Well, he is rather arrogant and has no mercy for weaker beings.
Stop doing this right now.
She confronts fake Captain America and holds him in place until BAM! Wanda's knocked back by Vision, and Vision is like, hey, what the hell is wrong with you? This is Captain America. Tony, Bruce, Natasha, and Clint all hear the rockets and rush down, but Tony gets a call from Fury and we cut away before we hear what Fury tells him. So meanwhile downstairs, Skrull Captain America's like, I knew we couldn't trust her, take her down, this traitorous bitch. But before Vision can do anything, Hawkeye steps out in front of Wanda and draws his arrow at Vision, and he says, hey, we're gonna figure this out, let's just all calm down. And Natasha's like, Wanda, why are you attacking Captain America? And Wanda's like, that's not Cap, that is some alien creature wearing Steve Rogers' face. And Bruce Banner's like, dude, she is a psycho, can we even trust her? Do we not remember when she made the Hulk rampage through a city just for fun? Actually, the kid's right, Bruce. That's Tony Stark walking in with a bearded Captain America. Then Skrull Captain America goes all Johnny Storm and he's like, are you kidding me? Look, I'm the real Captain America, okay? Who the hell is this? But Tony's like, the real question is, who the hell are you, rookie? Take a look. But before Wanda can finish the spell to look into the Skrull's mind, the Skrull Captain America pulls out a gun, aims it at Wanda's head, but shonk! There's a fucking arrow sticking out of fake Captain America's body, and we see fake Captain America turn into a Skrull. Everyone's like, whoa, what the hell is that thing? They call themselves Skrulls, and that's Nick Fury arriving at the Avengers compound. And Fury turns to Bruce Banner and he asks him what he theorizes about this, and Bruce Banner's like, I don't know, this isn't really my field. Bang! Fury shoots Bruce Banner in the leg. Everyone's like, whoa, what the hell are you doing, Fury? But Fury just kneels down to a whimpering Bruce Banner and he's like, well, do you want to try answering that again? Or are you gonna Hulk out on us? Because if you were, you probably would have by now. Last time I checked, Bruce Banner bled red, the Hulk bled green, but neither of them bled purple. Bruce Banner turns into a Skrull and everyone's like, what is going on? And he's taken away by S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. Fury explains that after the events of Sokovia, the Hulk got into a Quinjet and flew into space but got abducted by Skrulls. And they kept Bruce Banner in a tranquilizing mask to make sure that he doesn't turn back into the Hulk. Okay, listen, I know I squished the whole suspense and spy drama in that thing, but you know, again, 30-minute episodes, what can you do? I think that's better than nothing. And I like seeing the Avengers just like hang out between missions and just interacting between themselves without any like galactic proportional threat hanging about, you know? But speaking of Age of Ultron, there is another episode scenario that I think they should have done.
What if?
Just like the other Avengers surviving the blip, I think this is an incredibly obvious one that should have been an episode. There are a million ways to go about this. Yeah, so Scarlet Witch sacrifices herself to save Hawkeye and that dumbass kid, and you know, she dies instead of Quicksilver. First of all, Quicksilver is not so chill about this. I think he'll just be a lot more colder to the idea of joining the Avengers after something like this. Hawkeye's trying to be all friendly, but Quicksilver's like, dude, fuck off, mate. Honestly, I don't have a solid idea for what would happen in this scenario. Like, what would be different? Vision staying a virgin? I guess Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness never happens, WandaVision never happens, Agatha never happens. I don't know how they should have done this episode. I'm just saying that they should have, okay? I'm not the one being paid thousands of dollars to come up with ideas for the show. However, if anyone has any ideas for how this episode will go, feel free to comment down below. And also comment down below your what if ideas that didn't make it into the show. I had a bunch on my list for this video, but this took way longer than expected, so that's all I have for this week. Speaking of MCU wasted potential, I did do a video on rejected MCU concept art, so check that out if you haven't already. Check out my second channel for random vlogs and videos from the and day life, my letterbox and my Instagram, everything in the description. Goodbye.
And 1-5 in the open.